Alright, and let's go on to our second critique for this week. Alright, so once again I'm going to talk about the images themselves, just how successful they are as images, and then we're going to talk about how well they fulfill the requirements of the assignment. So I'm just going to go ahead and run through these here. Funny, I was still not entirely sure what some of these are. Like, I don't know what this is. I hope I did this right. This was oriented the other way, but this looked correct to me? I don't know. Okay. So, most successful image here, I am probably going to go with one of these. What I like about it is, partly, I like that I don't know what it is, which sounds strange, but I don't know what it is, but I'm really curious. That seems it doesn't make it sound any more logical, but I mean, I like these forms. I like sort of what this looks like and sort of how these are making geometric shapes here. And sort of overall palette here is very sort of dark, kind of a cold palette, and then this is kind of interesting to sort of add some texture, sort of give an idea of the shape here. Okay. Let's go back to these. Okay. So these are, I like, flash. There is a lot of flash going on here. You can see it especially in these areas. The way that this is really bright, and this is really bright, and this is really bright. And on here, there's a very distinct shadow. Tells me that you used flash on these. And I would really prefer that you didn't. Now, something like this, you can kind of get away with it. I'm definitely making sort of a specular highlight there. But anything like this, where it's a real shiny surface, anything that's like jewelry, it is so hard to shoot without getting specular highlights, no matter what you use, because it's reflective. It's mirror-like. It's reflecting back everything that is around it. For those of you who are not familiar, when you shoot jewelry, you actually have to basically you get like a little tent. It's like white on all sides, and there's just a small opening for you to stick the lens of your camera into that very, very white tent, and all the light's very diffuse, and yeah, the whole point is just to not get reflections. So anytime you have a super reflective surface, that's going to be tough. But yes, just try to turn that flash off for everyone. Just don't do it. I put it in the announcements, and I just feel like it adds another level of difficulty when you're trying to figure out, like, what is going on in these images. You don't need, like, well, your results are going to be sort of different because you're using flash. You're getting, especially like, this is a good example. You're getting areas that are really dark like this. So you can lose background detail, getting really very distinct shadow, which is distracting. So again, do yourself a favor, everybody in class. I'm not just trying to pick on Beth here, but just everyone in class. Just go into your settings, turn that flash off. I kind of sort of let it slide last week because, if you're shooting on auto, sometimes it's going to pop up, and there's really not a lot that you can do. But when you're on manual settings, as I'm sure we all are now, you don't want to do that. You gotta show that camera who's boss, and the boss is you. So anyway, let's just go through one by one. And we got sRGB on top versus Adobe RGB on the bottom. Let me see here. On the other screen, I'm looking at what she wrote, comparing sRGB to Adobe RGB. That you seem to have lost some detail, and the Adobe RGB seem to blend together more. No, I'm not really seeing that on these. I mean, actually, if you look at this Adobe RGB here, you're actually getting kind of more richness in here, yeah, versus sRGB here. And part of what that is, one of the areas where the Adobe RGB is larger, like includes more of the different gradations of color, is actually in the blues and greens. So that's actually a good example of how we're seeing there. Not a real big difference here. And on this one, a bit hard to tell because it's just a little bit soft, like just a little bit. Maybe it was a low light situation, and yeah, just got like a little bit of movement in there. Okay, so moving on to her various RAW versus small JPEG. Let's see, RAW and small JPEG. I really didn't notice a lot of difference, except maybe that the RAW seemed lighter in color. Yep, like that can happen at times. Let's see. So this is RAW and this is small JPEG. That can happen for a couple of different reasons. Small JPEG here, RAW here. It could be camera settings. It can be just the way that a RAW file is different. Let's see, small JPEG down here, RAW up here. Not a big difference in those two. And small JPEG here, RAW here. Yeah, you can see it sort of in these areas. It can be hard to tell on some of these. Get rid of that there. Okay. Terrible about doing that. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, maybe slightly lighter there. It can be, yeah, sort of, it can come out of some of the processing that your camera does. It can be a few different things, but partly just the look of the RAW. Let's see. In high sharpening to no sharpening, I noticed a lot of color difference, being that the no sharpening seemed to not let the colors blend, almost not at all. Yeah, I mean, I think I get what you're saying there. There's like a sometimes part of what makes it sharper is that the apparent contrast is actually somewhat higher on them. Yeah. I think, again, what she's getting at, high sharpening versus no sharpening, is you just kind of, again, part of what's making that look is just more apparent contrast. Just that little bit of contrast sort of pops it, makes it look sharper even. I mean, it's not like going in and replacing pixels in an area like this. I mean, that, you know, it's not actually changing the pixels themselves, it's more the appearance of that. You can see that versus that, you know. This is just, the contrast is higher here, clearly, than it is. There it is. Than it is in that area. Looking here, yeah, same thing. Alright, and then ISO 1600 to ISO 100. The main thing I noticed was that my backlighting showed a little more with the high ISO versus the ISO 100. Let it be not so harsh. Okay. Yeah. Looking at these. Oh, this one's actually got some additional lighting coming in here. That's not in that one. That's gonna make a slight difference. Again, yeah, ISO is really about sort of allowing your camera to make an image quicker or make it in lower light settings. Again, I mean, really not going to see it in anything that she's got here, but it sorry, totally just lost my train of thought. The kids are yelling in the background. Oh yeah, you're going to get a lot of noise, a lot of artifacts from the process that you just don't want in there. So yeah, I hope that was helpful to you, Beth, and to everyone who watched. And again, just as with the other one from this week, if you've watched to this point, go on to the class discussion forum underneath where the video for this will be posted, and just type in your response. It says viewed, VIEWED, to say that you viewed this entire video as well. Yeah, if you have any feedback for me, you know, like ideas about the videos or whatever, also feel free. Don't leave that under either of these two people's, under their discussion forum stuff, but yeah, if you have anything to say about the videos, you can leave it on YouTube or email it to me, whatever, you know. Cool. Alright. Thanks, guys.